cool part with that is that it's going to be worth about $5.5 to $6 million for the 10 units that we create there.
Because
Okay, I'm going to see if Ethan can do it for me because he's done this kind of stuff before. And so he'll probably feel more comfortable doing that than Brian will. So, I'm about to take a trip, and basically Devin is just helping me get everything settled. One of the things that's a little bit complex with using the fund is we've closed a lot of properties for the fund prior to actually having the fund raised. So like we bought them and we're selling them to the fund. We need to phase it where we sell a property to the fund so that we can go out and buy the next one. And so anyways, she's just trying to help me get that closed up so that we have cash to close another deal. And ultimately, long term in the fund, it's very simple to transact, but the way that we had to phase it to acquire these great deals as they came to us, like, it just makes it an extra step, and it's kind of a pain in the butt, but that's what she's doing. So what I was thinking would be cool to show you though is like one of the projects that we have. I want to show what it looks like from a depreciation standpoint, which is only going to be sexy to high W-2s that are paying a ton in taxes. So if you're paying a couple $100,000 in taxes, this is exciting to you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up. I'm just going to do some math for you on what this project looks like for us. So this project that we're doing in the fund, which is cool. All right, so this property in Corona, we talked about it a few times before, but it's a pretty big piece of land. It's zoned to multifamily. It's like 13,000 square feet. You can kind of see this. And what we're doing is we're ripping it down. We're ripping down the house that's there, and we're doing a 10-unit development. And so basically what that 10-unit development is going to look like, and it'll look similar to something like that. Now, that's not our final design. You can kind of see like there's a rooftop deck. There's some architectural stuff that we're going to change up on this, but ultimately it's a garage on the bottom and 2 stories on top is what we're going to build there. And so when we do that, it's going to cost us all in about $3 to $3.2 million to do that. And so the cool part with that is that it's going to be worth about $5.5 to $6 million for the 10 units that we create there. So because of that, we're able to come in and pay cash to do the work, but the mortgages will get paid by the renters on these properties, and so we'll be able to pull all of the cash back out. That $3.2 million will come back. But what it creates for us, besides creating that cash flow that we get through the process, it creates a huge tax benefit to us in 1 year. And so if we look at a property, and I'm just going to say we're going to be able to use $3.5 million. So let's see, 350 as our basis for cost segregation. So if we're doing 3.5 million, then, so what we're seeing right now on these cost segregation studies is roughly 25 to 30% of the actual hard value of that asset. So not including the land cost, you get to take a portion of that and take it as an expense every year on your taxes. Well, the cost segregation study allows you to take a good portion of that over the first 5 years, and that's the kind of study that we're doing on all of the projects that we're doing now. So if I take the $3.5 million, and I'm just going to use 0.25 as my multiplier, and that is going to give me an expense of 3,500 times 0.25. That's $875,000 on our bonus depreciation. So basically what that means for us because we get to roll in with the capital on this deal that we've either borrowed from somebody else or is coming from this project is in the fund. So the fund rolls in, puts the cash in, does the deal, but then when we're done, we pull all the cash back out and we just rent the property out and make a profit. The cool part though is that $875,000 in bonus depreciation is an actual loss that we get to take on our taxes that year. And so we do a lot of these deals for ourselves or even with people in the fund. For example, if somebody's a general partner in the fund, then what happens is they get 70% of that depreciation against their personal taxes. And so we go out and do a deal like this. Yes, there was a return made and there's a lot of equity that was created, but that $875,000 of that, they're getting $612,000 of that. So the investors in our fund, just because they came in and became general partners in a fund of funds or however we structured that with them, they got $600,000 that they got to write off on their taxes against their active income. So if they're a doctor and they made $1 million that year, $612,000 of that goes away on their income. And so this is a cool opportunity because this little niche that we work, we get to run project to project. And so for us, when we get these investors that come in and we're able to help them make a good return on their money by finding cool projects that download equity, the other piece that's really valuable is figuring out how do we save them money actively on their taxes year over year. And if we do a project like this per year for somebody that put in $1 million, but they get, a few $100,000 in tax savings that year, that becomes massive. And so anyways, for people that are interested in the benefits of microdevelopment, either through a fund model or through doing like syndications or figuring out how to run their own projects, this is a huge portion of the benefit, that $875,000 tax loss on a project that you don't have to have money locked into anymore because it still cash flows. That is life-changing, and it makes it so very high net worth people can be in a situation where they don't have to pay taxes at all, but they're also building a huge cash flowing portfolio. And so we teach people how to do that in our course, and we've done some partnerships with people in that way, but also that's why we have created the fund. So not only can we download that huge return to people, but we also give them that benefit of being able to get that active tax loss and reduce their tax liability on an annual basis. Yeah, so the investor brings us money. We go out and find these projects where we can create the project, get our cash back, and rent the project out. So the investors on a 10-year fund are eating from the rents starting at year one. So at year one, we start paying them from the rents. And then over that 10-year time frame, we take that $20 million and we turn it into hundreds of millions of dollars of equity. And they get to participate in all of the growth and tax benefit in that huge portfolio creation.